And as we do each and every Tuesday at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time, we talk to our man Basil Chapman. And folks, right on the front page of TFNN.com, you'll see Basil's opening call right there. He just did an outstanding subscriber webinar 1 week ago today, folks. Okay, a 90-minute webinar. When you sign up for the opening call, you gain access to Basil's outstanding newsletter, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you instantly gain access to the archive of that webinar as well. So it's a great time to check it out, folks. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, tremendous education. Can't go wrong. Basil Chapman, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tommy. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm watching this market. We got a little bit of action in this market. It's waking up a little bit. Volatility, nothing too. But we finally last week things were getting a little bit tame, Basil, and we got a little bit of action today.
So what I was talking about in my webinar, it was really talking about trends, and there are a number of aspects that I consider to be quite important when trying to decipher a trend. But just here, looking at the Dow, and one of the reasons why for the last couple of days I've been saying to subscribers, got to be careful here. Something is not right because there is no bad news, but the market is acting as if there's a lot of resistance. It doesn't mean to say that you have to think about where the support is immediately until you turn down, but you can see, and I drew in the technique that I discussed. One of the techniques is where I draw this tiny little channel. And if it's on the way up, then I make the bottom part of the channel pink and the top part green. And as soon as the price starts to bump into that, if it's able to climb over it and hold, that's usually a very good sign, but it becomes a resistance level. I call it the repellent zone. So now what we're looking at is the Dow made a fraction of just 2 or 3 points above the high of 3 days ago, which is that leg D we were waiting for a long time. Since the 23rd of July when we made a peak D in the Dow at 45,016. So we've gotten into this little area and we reversed very sharply from 45,207. But when you're looking at the Dow now, it just says, minus 48, what's the big deal? Well, it isn't a big deal until you try to put it together and you say, well, wait a minute. The weekly chart had that same trend line resistance. If I go to different areas, for instance, I've been saying, even though these are three, only one is a Dow stock, but I use them as clue stocks. These are stocks that we're still long from way down, way lower. That's GE. And GE, you can see, it's just been making, since that spike to the 281.04 level, it's making lows. And today, the 9-period moving average, this is part of the trends that education that I was trying to educate people in terms of what to look for as in the Chapman methodology for turns. Well, now the General Electric, the 9-period moving average has turned down for the first time, gone pink. First time since back in June. So this is something to make note of. And if you go to Robinhood, same thing. This is the one that I talk about in terms of the public being in the market. Well, it made a little double top here in the 117s. It's done that 3 or 4 times. And then it had a round number, 113. And all of a sudden, you've got this sharp red candle. Nothing yet to suggest that this is a major turnaround, but it's just saying there is a lot going on that makes it imperative at this particular point that you've got to be monitoring the positions that you have. And it's one of the reasons why we've become we have not added very much at all. We have one position that we've added, monitoring it very closely over the last couple of days. But if you go to, say, IGV is the iShares Expanded Tech Software. So look, peak D in the weekly chart, but look at this turnaround from 114.83 on the 29th of July. Here we are at 106. It doesn't sound like much, but look at the difference. You're making lower lows and lower highs. And that says to me, you've got to be a little bit careful here. Then there's another thing. If I look at the IAI, which is the broker-dealer ETF, it made this same thing. Looking at all these potential double tops, I did that in my show today and yesterday. I've been talking about the double tops and the round numbers at top. So this goes to 177 a number of times over the past 3 weeks. And the last one was a few days ago, went to 177.97, and it's just started turning down. So I'm watching this very closely because where the brokers go, you tend to see very much that the market tends to roll over. And if you go to the SMHs, made a 302.98 high a few days ago. Very next day, it had a 298 round number high. If you look at NVIDIA, it had, I've managed to work out the notation here. There was a couple of questions. We've done a double top from the 183s on the 31st of July to 184 on the 12th of August, and now we're pulling back. Pulling back doesn't mean to say that, oh, it's the end of the world, but I am saying I'm starting to see signs all over the show that there are, and I'll do more of this on my show tomorrow at 10 o'clock. But here's another one. Look, using this particular technique that I've been discussing, I was discussing it this morning, and the GDX, the gold miners, it was down 35 cents, 42 cents. I said, there's this rectangle formation, but what I am concerned about is that if you look at this inside track, this little track that I monitor, this channel, if the high that was made back on the 25th, the week of the 25th of April, there were two bars that went into the track, and then the third bar was sharply lower. Then it did exactly the same thing, went into the track on the week of the 6th of June. 3 bars later was sharply lower. And I said, let's see what happens here. We've had 2 bars. It's been inside the track. Does it come out of it? Well, suddenly we're turning down. So I'm saying just this is a moment to have some kind of caution. I don't see any reason to jump into any new stocks on the long side unless it's a very special situation. Even Bitcoin, another one that we've been long for quite some time and still long, made this double top, 123.61, 14th of July, pulls back quite sharp to 113,000, and then it goes to 125,200 just 4 sessions ago. And look at this, it's taken out the base, the rectangle base of support. The weekly chart's still pretty good. So I'm just saying, I've got enough evidence here to consider that you got to be a little careful. You know, even a stock that's been the real kind of the one that people have gravitated to for some time, Palantir, PLTR, 190, round number, all-time high at a peak D in chap wave Ds where you always start to be careful. Boom, look at this, down to 158 in just 1, 2, 3, in 6 sessions. So I'm saying be a little careful. Doesn't mean to say it's the end of the world, but I think that you've got to, your dad used to always say, have your spikes up, and that's exactly what I think you need to have right now.
Totally. And you know what was saying, that's it's great information, Basil. And folks, I was in there listening to the whole 90 minutes. It was a great webinar, Basil. Thanks for putting it together. I love watching it myself.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Definitely. And you know, the monthlies I noticed because you know, these what's Palantir done right now? It's approaching almost 10%. It was at one point, right? 8.7 as I talked to you. But on a monthly basis, it's not even red. And that's just amazing how far, right? And there were a couple equities you went through there where even on the monthly, I think it was probably Robinhood. Yeah, Robinhood on a monthly, you can't even tell it's had a bad day, folks. You can't even tell it's had a bad day on a monthly on Robinhood, which is
you need
just
the perspective correct.
Yeah,
and you need these technicals to be able to keep you in the trade. We are still long, and not as much as we'd like to be. We're still long all these, the GE, the Microsoft. These are stocks that have had fantastic moves, and if they do pull back, I love that because I'd like to be able to reassess and see if we can add to them on a pullback. So I'm looking at this favorably. Not getting very excited, other than to say, we've built up some cash, and we want to put it to work with some good positions.
Well, get in there in the opening call, folks, so you can see how he's going to put it to work. And I can't wait to see myself. Basil, great to talk to you as always, man. We appreciate it, and we look forward to the Tiger Technicians Hour tomorrow at 10.
Thank you, Tommy. You too.
Thank you.